Welcome back to the second and final episode of Derek Rucker's Top 15 as we get ready for NBL 26. On the previous episode, Derek went through 15 through 6. As I welcome you back, Derek, how has the feedback been from the first episode?
Feedback has been strong, Jack. I love all the comments and all the messages that I'm receiving from so many different types of fans also, and a couple of players here and there.
Well, he means business, so he's got the white jacket back for 5 through 1. Jump online, check out 15 through 6, leave us your thoughts, and Derek will go through and take a little look at them. But this is where it gets difficult, Derek. 15 through 6, I'd imagine, is very difficult. 5 through 1, I can't even imagine how hard that would be.
It's extremely hard, and again, the NBL clubs and the administrators and the general managers and the coaches have done such an outstanding job of building depth throughout their rosters and bringing supreme import talent to the NBL, bringing back Aussie talent to the NBL. And while it makes the NBL season super exciting, it makes compiling a top 15 list extremely difficult.
So when we were talking about the values and the qualities that makes the top 15, I want to go one step further. What separates these 5 guys from the rest?
You must have a supreme skill set, some unique talents that separate you from the rest, some box office appeal, some charisma, all those types of things, Jack. You throw it into the pot, and if that pot is full, you're probably going to be in the top 5.
You know the drill. Jump online, leave us your thoughts on all of the NBL social media channels, and we'll take a look at them and pick out some of the best ones. Number 5 in Derek Rucker's Top 15.
Let's get right into it. Number 5 is Jack McVeigh of the Cairns Taipans. Literally brainwashed himself into the NBA. The charismatic affirmation master shocked the NBL world when he inked a $1 million deal with the Cairns Taipans. Championship Series MVP in NBL 24. McVeigh averaged 17 and 6 on 53 and 40 splits. This guy's a fascinating study in sports as to the power of what the mind can do when you decide this is how I need to go about my business to get myself where I want to be. Not the best athlete we've ever seen in the NBL, doesn't have a whole bunch of handles and can't go deep into his bag, but knows how to play the game, knows when to use the skills that he does possess at the right times, and again, championship winner, big-time winner, high-character guy.
This might be, Derek, one of the best Australian basketball stories in the last decade. This is a guy that couldn't get a starting spot at the Adelaide 36ers. He goes to Tasmania. He wins a championship. He goes to the NBA. He represents Australia. Now he comes back to the NBL as a marquee player. Like, the rise of this guy, I don't think is like anything we've ever seen before.
It isn't, and I don't understand, how more people don't model what he has achieved and how he's gone about it with his processes. And Jack, we look at this right here, the biggest shot ever in NBL history. Oh my, to break Melbourne United's heart in Game 3. Goosebumps watching that. But Jack McVeigh, again, just a terrific guy, and I think he is going to be an MVP candidate this year in Cairns. I think he's really going to embrace the opportunity that's going to be presented there. And I think he likes the challenge of taking a team that finished at the bottom last season and trying to get them up into playoff contention.
So this is the thing, and you spoke about his mental mindset and the way that he can will himself in to do things. Brainwash, I think, was the term that you used. We've never seen him, though, in this role. He's never been the number 1 guy in a team. How will he go doing this?
I think he's ready for it. And after spending some time over in the NBA and in the G League, I think physically he looks much better. I think he's developed some other skills that are going to be hard for NBL teams to deal with on the offensive end. And I think he probably has a greater perspective on what basketball is about and how to attack it as a professional. He is going to be a superstar this season. I cannot wait to watch him play.
Can you see some nights, maybe at the Cairns Convention Centre particularly, where he just gets hot early and just totally tortures a team?
He's going to have at least 3 30-plus point games up in far north Queensland. And people will kind of like brush that to the side. It's really hard to score 30-plus points in today's NBL. So heavily scouted, so much talent. To do that 3 times at home, mark it.
Can't wait to see Jack McVeigh as one of the big features of the NBL this season. To number 4.
Number 4 is my buddy, PJC, Parker Jackson Cartwright of the New Zealand Breakers, and one of the most charismatic players in the competition. You look at PJC's ability. He's dynamic with the basketball. He can shoot it. He can put it on the deck. He's a great playmaker. He's selfless. And again, when you talk about charisma, Jack, this is a guy who fans adore watching play the game. And let's acknowledge this, because it's kind of been lost in the shuffle of what happened later in the season with the Breakers. But he is a winning basketball player. When Parker Jackson Cartwright plays for the New Zealand Breakers, they win more than they lose.
He is a winner. This guy is one of the most competitive players we've seen in quite some time. So how much of a motivator will that be, the fact that last season fell away so dramatically for him and for the Breakers?
You see it at the Blitz, and I think he is very focused on what is required to help this team win. And I think also, Jack, the fact that he has a capable sidekick now, not to knock Matt Mooney, who I thought was decent, but Isaiah Brockington, or Isaiah Buckington as he is also known, he is really going to assist Parker Jackson Cartwright in being a better player. But Parker is a guy, there's only 5, 6, 7 guys in the competition that can regularly win you basketball games on your own. And because Parker is capable of doing that, that's why he is positioned at number 4 in the top 15.
He can win an MVP this year?
He certainly can. And I would say that he is one of the top 3 preseason MVP candidates.
Well, we shall wait and see. He is number 4 to the podium, to number 3.
This is where it got really, really difficult. I was tossing around a few different guys, but when push came to shove, I had nowhere else to settle than Montrezl Harrell of the Adelaide 36ers. The monster has come back for season 2 when it looked like he may have been out of the NBL and wasn't going to be on these shores anymore. He is a physically imposing hardwood beast. Scored 21 points a game for the Sixers last season while being second in the league in rebounding. People don't understand that that was a big aspect of his dominance out on the floor, the ability to grab rebounds at a regular rate. He should be even better this season with last season now in his pocket. He understands what Adelaide's about. He's had a season with Mike Wells. Everything is trending up in terms of Montrezl Harrell's ability to continue with success in the NBL.
And we touched on this last episode with Joe Lawala-Chua. When we saw Montrezl come to the NBL last year, he was coming off the back of a serious knee, and everything that we were told was that he wanted to use this as a springboard to get back to the association. Not saying the dream's over, but it feels like this time around, he's a little bit more worried about what's in front of him here with Adelaide as opposed to what's next, which is cool.
Yeah, it is very cool, and I think there was a period there in the off-season where I had some discussions with Trez, and he wasn't really sure where the next step was. He was playing summer basketball over in the United States. He featured prominently in the Big 3 competition where he played outstanding basketball, but he was looking for that next prime basketball gig, and it didn't look like Adelaide was going to be a possibility. But given everything that happened with the Cotton signing, Matt Weston went back in with Grant Kelly, and they decided Montrezl Harrell was the way to go. And, Jack, we cannot even measure. We cannot measure with metrics how significant a role his social media and his presence played to the growth of the NBL last season. And this is a guy who's very popular around the globe with fans, has great connections within the NBA. He's just got big box office appeal.
Yeah, he's a genuine bums-on-seat guy. Whether they play at Adelaide or whether they play away from home, this guy brings people to the stadium.
He's like an oversized monster anime. He's got the hair, he's got the bling, he's got the dunks, and he's just got so much about him going on in venue. Get out to a venue and watch him play basketball because it is an experience.
So what does he learn from year 1, and how does he become even more of a dominant force in year 2?
I would like to see him just maybe tone down a little bit of the extracurricular stuff in game.
Good luck.
Even though we love it and it's entertaining, there's a point where if it impacts how your team performs or is energy draining, then that's no good. But he's smart enough to understand how to toe that line.
So we're down to number 2. There's only 2 players left in Derek Rucker's top 15. Where are we going?
Number 2 is Kendrick Davis. Came in second last season in the MVP voting. Kendrick Davis is a dynamic guard who came in second last season in the MVP voting, and realistically, were there no Bryce Cotton, he wins that MVP award easily. Crazy gifted on the offensive end. Averaged 25 and 8 last season with the 36ers with a low turnover percentage, which is something that I really value. He does not give the basketball up. He has a great knack for knowing when to hit the turbo button. But Jack, guess what? He's taken his talents to Sydney, the biggest stage, the brightest lights in the NBL. Let's see how he adapts to a total different environment in Sydney where there's high expectations, there's high pressure. It is more like an NBA franchise when you play for the Sydney Kings.
I know you spent a little bit of time with KD in the offseason. Even just him being at number 2, like he will see this and he will be disappointed that he's not number 1. He was disappointed last year to not win the MVP. He's so intrinsically motivated. Tell us more about what you've come to learn from Kendrick.
Well, he's a guy that just walks around. He sleeps with a chip on his shoulder. He's always got something to prove, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I like his work ethic. I got to see it firsthand over in the United States in Houston. I watch him work out. He's got a nice setup, and the guy doesn't shy away from putting in the hard work. I think he's going to be in for a top season. There were a lot of mumblings last season coming out of Adelaide about the character and some of the other things that went on. I like giving guys and people a second chance. I'm not saying he was to blame, but certainly he has a chance to silence some of those whispers if he conducts himself properly in the infrastructure with the Sydney Kings.
So he goes to Sydney to play next to Matthew Dellavedova, and he's told us that was part of the bargaining and the attraction was to play next to a guy like Delly who's a winner and plays the right way. What is he going to learn from Delly?
Well, I think he's going to know how to be a pro really quickly if he hasn't already. And Dellavedova is a guy who has shown tremendous longevity. And, while we're talking about Kendrick, Dellavedova is a guy who's playing at a high level also. And between the two of them, they'll be able to alleviate a lot of pressure from one another, which should help them both perform a lot more efficiently for the Sydney Kings this season. But Kendrick, he's only a young man. He's a young professional. And I think he's trying to learn how he fits in. How does he play the game at a premium level? How does he impact through leadership? How does he fit into a group dynamic? And sometimes it takes a number of years, well into your late 20s, before you sort all of that stuff out.
So are you saying we haven't seen the best of Kendrick Davis yet?
No.
Really?
He's 4 or 5 years away from his best. And if he handles his business this season, as much as I hate to see players from our perspective go on to the NBA because we want everybody to play here, but he'll be in the NBA next season. Jack, if he plays to 90% of the level that he did with Adelaide and handles all of the so-called drama off the floor and conducts himself in a proper and professional manner, the talent is there. He's NBA talent guy.
Let's get to number 1. We've been waiting all off-season to find out who is number 1 in Derek Rucker's top 15.
Number 1 is Bryce Cotton. What can we say? What can we say? Bryce Cotton is number 1, and Bryce has made possibly the biggest move in NBL history, taking his talents to Glenelg Beach, moving to the Adelaide 36ers, and something that none of us thought was possible. And if he couldn't play with the Perth Wildcats, I prefer him to play anywhere in the NBL over playing somewhere else in the world. So shout out, great job 36ers in getting Bryce Cotton signed. And not just a one-year deal, Jack, but a multi-year deal. This is a guy, based on how you evaluate talent throughout the history of the league, he, in my opinion, is the second or third greatest player ever to play in the NBL. Now, Jack, we got news that he is an Australian citizen, which begins another chapter to his iconic career. I thought he had his best season as a pro last year with the Perth Wildcats, but it wasn't enough. Got restless, had disagreements. Who knows what the deal actually is? The bottom line, he is now in Adelaide, and the basketball community of Adelaide get to watch this guy firsthand, and what a tremendous, tremendous bonus that is for Sixers fans.
Huge for them, huge for Australian basketball fans to have Bryce here in the NBL. The first thing about Bryce, Derek, that I wonder and pose to you is we've never seen Bryce Cotton in this mindset before. We've never seen a Bryce Cotton who feels a bit slighted from the Perth Wildcats, feels really disappointed with some of the things that some of the fans said on the way out, thinks that the media in Perth were disgraceful to him on the way out. So Bryce is Bryce, but we've never seen Bryce play angry and determined like he might come out this year.
Just looking at that shot right there where he knocks down that jumper, you're not a normal person when you can do this. You are slightly unhinged as an individual, but to be this brilliant, that's what's required. And when you're looking for motivation, any slight misstep by the media or somebody discounting your talent or not giving you the respect or not giving you the offer that you wanted, it can trigger a disproportionate response from this brilliant talent. And that's, I think, what we got. Now this guy is motivated, Jack. Imagine if he can lead the Adelaide 36ers, a franchise that has not reached the promised land since 2002, I believe.
Wow.
It has been a long time since they won a championship. If he can get them back there, that adds so much more to his legacy. I believe that great players should stick with one team, and I think, you know, Kobe, Larry Bird, hopefully Steph Curry. So it did hurt me a little bit from a basketball purist perspective when Bryce decided to leave the Perth Wildcats. But at the same time, if he can reel off 1, 2 championships and some more MVPs, shout out to Andrew Gaze, with the Adelaide 36ers, man, what does it do for his legacy?
And that's what we've come to know about Bryce, and we love about him. Individual awards, fantastic, and there's no doubt about it that he's got an eye on them, but he's now at the stage where he just wants to win championships. And not saying that he didn't think he could do it at Perth, but he clearly thinks that he can win one with this Adelaide team.
Jack, he doesn't even have to worry about or focus on trying to get individual awards because his talent takes care of that.
They just come to him.
The individual awards are incidental to everything that he does as a basketball player. If Adelaide make a deep postseason run this season, if they finish in the top 2, you can just ring Bryce Cotton up for his 6th MVP award. That's how great he is. And man, this is a fascinating watch. And some people are going to be like, oh, it's boring that Bryce was number 1. No, it's not boring because we just had the greatest free agent move in NBL history, and we get to see how it pans out in NBL 26.
Well done to Bryce Cotton. He is number 1 again in Derek Rucker's top 15, and I think you're going to find it very hard, Derek, even from the most steadfast of fans, from Perth in particular. I think you're going to find it pretty hard to have an argument there, and most people accept that this guy's the best player in the league, don't they?
I wouldn't put anything past the Red Army.
Well done to you. This is not an easy list to put together, and I know how much work goes in, not just over the course of 24 hours. This takes you weeks and weeks of data and feedback. This is one hell of a list, so well done to you.
Thank you very much. And hey, full respect to the fans and the players and the coaches and the organizations who make this all possible. You guys, I know some of you don't love it, but you cooperate and you pay attention, and I love that.
Now that the list is out there, fans, go and do your thing. Hit us up on social media. Don't be frightened to send Derek a DM as well if you think as well, and leave him your thoughts. But we are getting closer and closer to opening night in NBL 26. And here are just some of the stars that are on show. Thanks so much for watching Derek Rucker's preseason Top 15.